There's a difference between playing a superhero game and living one, between hearing you're powerful and actually feeling it in your bones. And no series, not Spider-Man, not Avengers, not Suicide Squad, has ever made you feel like the hero the way Rocksteady's Arkham trilogy did. Those weren't just Batman games. They were a masterclass in game design, storytelling, and psychology. A descent into what it means to be Batman. Not the man, but the myth, the obsession, the fear, and the cost. 15 years later, studios are still chasing that high, still dissecting those systems, still trying to understand why these 3 games, made by a studio that barely anyone had heard of, became the gold standard for every superhero game that followed. This is why the Arkham trilogy is still the gold standard. Before 2009, superhero games were a graveyard of missed potential. We had Superman Returns, a game where you couldn't even die, just watch Metropolis explode around you like a fireworks show. And Iron Man 2008 had controls that made it feel like you'd have a better time flying a toaster into a ceiling fan. And oh, let's not forget the Incredible Hulk games, which were fun for about 8 minutes before you realized all you were doing was smashing cars and crushing your own will to live. So, licensed games were a joke. They were made fast, made cheap, and made really to sell toys. It all changed when Rocksteady Studios, a tiny London-based team of about 70 people, known only for their mid-tier FPS called Urban Chaos Riot Response, entered the picture. And no one expected them to change the industry. But here's the twist. Eidos handed them the Batman license. I apologize if I butchered their name. A brand that had been basically cursed for over a decade. And instead of micromanaging them like every other publisher, they did something revolutionary. They said, do whatever you want. And Rocksteady took that freedom seriously. They brought in Paul Dini, the legendary writer behind the Batman the Animated Series. They hired Kevin Conroy and Mark Hamill to reprise their roles. They didn't build a Batman game for kids. They built one for the fans who grew up with him. They used Unreal Engine 3 not as a limitation, but as a weapon. Every shadow, every sound, every crumbling wall inside Arkham Asylum was designed to feel like the world's most dangerous prison, claustrophobic, rotten, and alive. This was a love letter, a statement that said, we're going to show you what it feels like to be Batman. Batman Arkham Asylum didn't just surprise people, it stunned them. Rocksteady didn't go big, they went deep. One night, one location, one goal: survive the madhouse. The moment you're locked inside with Joker, the whole tone shifts. You're not the predator, you're the trapped prey, slowly taking back control. The audio direction is pure tension, pipes hissing, intercoms crackling, Joker mocking you through speakers. It's gothic horror mixed with psychological warfare. And the game's secret weapon? Free flow combat. Sefton Hill and Ben Wyatt built a system that looked simple. One button to strike and one to counter. But underneath was animation blending tech that changed the industry. The system read your positioning, timing, and your rhythm. It made fights look choreographed while still demanding focus. Every punch had weight, every counter had rhythm. This wasn't button mashing, no. This was combat as language. Developers everywhere took notes. Assassin's Creed, Shadow of Mordor, Spider-Man, Jedi Fallen Order, all of them owed their melee DNA to Arkham's free-flow system. But Arkham Asylum's brilliance wasn't just mechanical, it was also psychological. Batman's detective vision turned intuition into gameplay. Scarecrow's fear toxin broke the fourth wall. Remember when the game crashed and rebooted with Joker as the protagonist? Yeah, that was Rocksteady messing with your head, and they killed it. They didn't just build atmosphere, they weaponized it. When the final cutscene hit and Joker's reign collapsed, critics weren't just impressed, they were blindsided. IGN called it the first superhero game to feel like art, and they were right. Rocksteady didn't just prove superhero games could be good, they proved they could be meaningful. Now 2 years later, Arkham City dropped, and it wasn't just bigger. It was smart. Gotham was now a lawless, open-air prison, a city inside a city, a metaphor, chaos itself. Rocksteady could have bloated it with meaningless filler. They didn't. Every rooftop had purpose, every alley whispered history. Every villain, Penguin, Two-Face, Hugo Strange, felt handcrafted. Paul Dini returned, but this time, the writing was more ambitious. This wasn't just about stopping Joker. It was about confronting Batman's own moral decay, his inability to stop fighting, and his addiction to control. Kevin Conroy's performance carries that. His voice doesn't sound heroic anymore. It sounds tired, scared, human. Mark Hamill, on the other hand, delivers his best Joker performance. He's dying, but he's still laughing, still manipulating, still control.
Surprise!
Mr. J!
Their chemistry hits like Shakespearean levels of tragedy. Joker isn't just Batman's nemesis, he's his reflection. Two sides of the same coin, locked in a relationship that can only end in one way: death. And when it does, when Batman carries Joker's lifeless body into the night, silent and broken, there's no music, no victory fanfare, just a weight of loss. It's not just one of the best endings in gaming, it's one of the most human. By 2015, Arkham Knight had impossible expectations, and it met them with audacity. The city was alive. Rain pooled on rooftops, neon reflected off wet pavement, thunder rolled across skyscrapers. It was a living painting of Gotham. And then came the Batmobile, the most diversive vehicle in gaming history. Well, it might be a stretch to say that, because was it perfect? No. God, no. Was it necessary? I'd say absolutely. Rocksteady wasn't trying to make the game bigger, they were trying to make Batman heavier, to show the escalation, the chaos of war. Batmobile symbolized that perfectly. But what made Arkham Knight unforgettable wasn't the tech, it was psychology. Joker's dead, yet he won't leave. He's literally inside Batman's head, taunting him, trying to break him. That ghost isn't just narrative flavor, it's symbolic guilt. Batman's greatest enemy becomes his conscience. Every hallucination, every glimpse of Joker and reflections is a reminder the mask isolates more than it protects. Oh, and Joker's blood is literally in his veins, so that checks out.
You will bring death to all who follow you.
And when the Arkham Knight revealed as Jason Todd steps in, it ties everything together. Batman's guilt, his failures, his obsessions, it all comes home. The final act isn't about victory, it's about acceptance. Bruce Wayne finally admits that to save Gotham, Batman must die. It's poetic, it's tragic, it's the only logical ending to a trilogy about a man who can never stop fighting until the fight consumes him.
It's done. Gotham is safe.
Thank you, Bruce, for everything.
Goodbye, Jim.
So, why is the Arkham's trilogy still the gold standard? Because it didn't chase spectacle, it chased truth. It understood its hero, not as a power fantasy, but as a psychological one. It made you feel the exhaustion, the obsession, the isolation that comes with being Batman. The gameplay wasn't perfect, but it was damn good. The stealth was empowering, and the city felt alive. But the soul, that's what made it timeless. Kevin Conroy and Mark Hamill didn't just voice characters, they gave them mortality. Paul Dini's writing wasn't just comic book sharp, it was operatic. And Rocksteady's attention to detail bordered on madness. You had cape physics, facial animation, lighting, that all felt cinematic before games even understood what that meant. The ripple effect still hits today. Look at Shadow of Mordor, which borrowed its combat. Spider-Man borrowed its polish, and even Jedi Fallen Order borrowed its rhythm. But none have matched its heart. Because Arkham wasn't about replication, it was about respect. A studio at its creative peak, channeling genuine reverence for a myth they loved. Even now, when fans replay those games, they aren't chasing nostalgia, well, maybe, but really, they're chasing mastery. And I know I was one of them.
All units coordinated.
The Arkham trilogy is the gold standard because it dared to ask one question no superhero game has before. What does it cost to be the hero? Not the victories, not the glory, the cost. Every system, every voice line, every drop of rain served that theme. You weren't saving Gotham, you were bleeding for it. You weren't winning, you were enduring. And every time you glide into the night, it wasn't power you felt, it was responsibility. That's what modern superhero games still miss. They make you strong, but they rarely make you human. When the credits rolled on Arkham Knight, you didn't lose Batman. You just learned what it cost to be him. That's what makes this trilogy sacred. That's why 15 years later, no one's surpassed it. Because you can't outdo perfection. You can only honor it. And somewhere out there, on a rain-soaked rooftop, with thunder echoing across the skyline, that same truth still whispers through the storms. There's being Batman, and then there's being Batman. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like. If you want more content like this, comment and subscribe. Let me know what your favorite Batman game was, or if I'm wrong. I want to know your thoughts. Thank you for watching, and remember, the bound always return.